Okay, we are going to start with the pledge and the oath and the law. Those in uniform, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
Okay. Now we will have Paula Kruger, and I'm stopping this now because it's gonna start that again. Stop. One of these days I'll remember how to do that. All right, we're gonna have Paula Kruger lead us in a prayer.
All right, please ready yourself for prayer. Lord, bless our scouting leaders who spend so much time and energy to help our scouts grow up well. Guide them in their work, give them patience and wisdom, and reward them in this life and the next. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Paula. All right. Now it is time for our info minute, giving you all the news that you can use for Rainbow Council. Dates and registration links for Roundtable for all of 2021 have been posted. Please share this PDF with your adult leaders. Every unit should have at least one leader attend Roundtable each month. And when we're able to host Roundtable again in person, we'll continue to offer virtual attendance as an option using the same registration links. There is a new Eagle workbook, and changes have been made to Eagle extensions and COVID-related Eagle extensions. Lynn Zumstein is going to be giving us more information on both of these items a little later this evening. According to National, the new Diversity Merit Badge is not going to be released this month, as previously stated. It is undergoing further editing based on member input. A Scout is Reverend, and Scout Sunday is February 7th. You are reminded that any and all scouting activities must follow current COVID restrictions, and as of right now, we're not allowed to meet for in-person group scouting activities. You are welcome, however, to attend your service of choice in uniform with your family. If you choose to participate, please think smart. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and watch your distance. Due to COVID, Klondike and Arctic Blast have been canceled. COVID guidelines remain unchanged and in-person scouting events are prohibited. There's word that state mitigation tiers may change in the near future. If these affect Rainbow Council's guidelines, the Key 3 will release an official statement notifying us of a change to the guidelines. The changes will be posted on Council's webpage and also posted to Council's Facebook page. There are no changes unless you see an official statement from Diane Klopfer or Ted Carnes. We're hopeful we'll be able to run programming this spring. Watch for information on the Disabilities Awareness Training, Cub Scout Beltapalooza, and Baloo Training. We're hopeful. People are starting to get their immunizations, hopefully soon. One thing we are going ahead with right now, Scouts Bsa Rsr Summer Camp is online. It's 2021. It's a go so far, and registration is available online on the calendar's webpage. You can find the leader's guide available now as well. It's a little hard to find. We're working on getting it moved. So we did post it to our Facebook page, so hopefully you can see it. The Joliet Diocese Catholic Committee on Scouting is planning a retreat for Scouts on February 27th. A virtual program is planned if necessary due to COVID restrictions. Wood Badge is a go for October 2021. C7 70221 will be running October 9th through 11th and 3rd through the 24th. You can sign up now on Council's calendar, and this is the premier leadership experience from Rainbow Council. Do you have a scout interested in the stamp collecting merit badge? If you do, contact Fred Danielewicz. He has some resources for interested scouts. Finally, what do you need help with? What do you need more information on? What would you like to learn more about? This is what Ez and I are here for. Please message us with your ideas or your concerns or your questions, and we would be happy to answer them at the next roundtable. And with that, I will hand it on over to Esmeralda for the Scout Law Point.
So this month's Scout Law Point is, a scout is courteous. From scouting.org, it states, courteous, be polite to everyone and always use good manners. Baden-Powell's original Scout Law says that a scout is courteous. That is, he is polite to all, being especially to women and children and old people and invalids, cripples, etc. And he must not take any reward for being helpful or courteous. John Wayne's interpretation is courteous. Allow each person his human dignity, which means a lot more than saying, yes, ma'am, and thank you, sir. It reflects an attitude that later in life, you wish you had honored more earlier in life. Save yourself the problem. Do it now. A scout is courteous. A scout is polite to everyone, regardless of age or position. He knows that using good manners makes it easier for people to get along. A scout is courteous. In another way of saying a scout is a gentleman, or in these cases nowadays, a young lady. A woman, open a door for someone, offer your seat on the bus, or is in a busy waiting room to an elderly person, a pregnant woman, or anyone who needs it more than you. Greet others with a firm handshake. Do your share of family chores in the pleasant way. Say please and thank you, or pardon me and I'm sorry, whenever appropriate. Being courteous shows that you are aware of the feelings of others. The habits of courtesy that you practice as a scout will stay with you throughout your life. And that is our Scout Law Point for this month.
Thank you, Esmeralda. Now we're going to talk about the Adult Leader Knot. And this month we have the Scouters Training Award. And the Scouters Training Award is a knot you can recognize leaders with that you can submit on behalf of yourself or another leader. It's available for Cub Scout leaders, Scouts BSA leaders, and Venturing and Sea Scout program leaders. This is a green knot on a tan field with a green border. Ooh, spiffy. To get the requirements for this knot, you need to complete at least 2 years of tenure as a registered leader. You need to complete basic leader training, and you need to attend a University of Scouting or attend at least 4 roundtables in each year of tenure, which this qualifies. So how easy is that? You can earn it from your bedroom or wherever you are in your home right now. And then you also need to participate in unit planning meetings. Have your unit achieve at least a bronze status in JTE, which is possible right now. Give primary leadership to accomplishing 1 JTE objective and participate in 1 supplemental or advanced training event. All right, and speaking of, well, hold on, let me hold that thought. The application for Scouts BSA leaders looks much like the one that's presented here for the Cub Scout Training Award. But you do submit it once it's all filled out to the council office and the magic happens. But speaking of JTE, Ez, do you have something you want to talk about for JTE?
I absolutely do. So now that recharter's done, whew, done. Now we need to get ourselves ready for the next one. So in order to prepare for you throughout the entire year of 2021, there are tools available for you called the tracking workbooks. Did you know we had these? I did not. So this is one new thing I am going to do this year. So what this is it is a tool for those that are getting ready to start your planning of the year, your committee meetings, your campouts, your activities for your units. So in the chat, I actually put the link to the Boy Scouts of America page that'll go directly to it, but let me show you. So once you get to that link, you get this page and it has all of them. Yes, 2020 is the only one that is there. Last we checked, 2021 was there and then it just disappeared. Poof, I don't know. So once it's up, please keep an eye out for it. Or you can take 2020's guide and kind of try to manipulate it to work at it for right now until the 2021 is available. Well, that being said, you would get this page, okay? This first page is the one that gives you the setup and the instructions, and it's pretty easy. Nothing to worry about, you know, basic information, when the report is due, usually it's around the same time as your recharter, and so on and so forth. The next tab underneath is your data entry. This is where you would be able to manipulate and change any information on anything that needs to be filled in. You know, when did you adopt your budget plan? You would go ahead and put the date there. As you keep adding dates, you will start calculating your values of each of the sections from the planning budget to your membership. So everything is broken down from going on. So every time you add a scout, you start changing that number. Every time you drop a scout, you change that number. It is an ongoing process. So by the time this needs to get turned in by recharter time, usually for us, it's in December, it's done. Finito. Don't need to stress. It's a quick and easy thing. So where does this go? In the next page, you start getting your scorecard. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So if there's any questions on how to adapt this into your committee meetings, or if you are a committee chair, you've never seen this before and you need help on how to use it or how to utilize it, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or to Angie or to anybody else in the commissioning corps. They would be happy to help you along.
JTE isn't just a measurement to tell national how you're doing. It's a guide to help you create programming for your troop that follows the aims and methods of scouting. So there's a reason they want us to be camping so many months of the year, so many times per year, or there's a reason they want us to have planning meetings and have a budget. These are things that good units have. And so this is a reminder of, oh, we really need to make sure we do this next month because we haven't done it yet. And if you are waiting till the very end of the year to fill it out, you're missing out on all these great tools to help you run a good program for your kids. So these tools are out there. You just gotta make sure you're using them. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, Esmeralda, can you talk to us a little bit about the Safety Minute?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So this month's Safety Minute is, wait for it, carbon monoxide poisoning at home or camp. Carbon monoxide, CO, causes upward of 400 deaths and results in the hospitalization of more than 4,000 people each year in the United States, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. Many of those falling ill don't know they have CO poisoning because it is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas. With proper inspection and housekeeping, scouts and community members alike can prevent CO poisoning. So what is CO? CO is a byproduct of many of your day-to-day activities. It is found in the fumes from gas stoves and lanterns, fireplaces, and the burning of charcoal, as well as from motor vehicles such as cars and boats. Additionally, CO poisoning most often occurs when the fumes are released within the confines of a small or enclosed off room. Possible symptoms of poisoning are headaches, weakness, dizziness, nausea, confusion, disorientation, sleepiness, and in more severe cases, fluid in lungs or neurological disorders. How to prevent and what to do in an emergency? Well, make sure you have the properly installed CO detectors in your home. if it's preferably in multiple levels, if you have multi-level rooms or homes, I should say. Do not use flames or flame-producing equipment within a closed environment, such as a small room, building, or tent. Check the seals of containers with flammable contents to ensure proper storage and prevent leakage. Let me try that again. Do not burn fuels such as charcoal, propane, or other gases indoors. Always swim away from the engine side of any floating motor vehicles. Be sure to keep your vehicle inspected up to date. If you suspect that you are suffering from CO poisoning, immediately open any doors and windows to get fresh air and contact your healthcare facility or call 911. So be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have those CO detectors well installed.
Thank you, Esmeralda. Okay, this month, instead of doing the Cub Scout or Boy Scout award that we normally do, we wanted to talk to you about a program that we have locally called the Prairieland Trails. Prairieland Trails program. Some of you may be aware of it, but I'm also learning that a lot of you are not. So we invited Bob Wilcox to come talk to us about it because it's his program. Take it away, Bob.
Thank you, Angelique. My name is Robert Wilcox, and I am the creator of the Prairieland Trails system of trails. Let me just share my screen here. So again, who am I? In addition to creating this system, I am a Scoutmaster in Troop 315 out of Peatone, Illinois. I'm also Eagle Scout out of our former Calumet Council. And I've lived and hiked in this area pretty much all of my life. What are the Prairieland Trails? They're a system of trails and nature centers within Will, Grundy, and Kankakee counties. Basically, the areas that are served by Rainbow Council. The system is meant to serve the scouting organization, of course, though it's open to anyone who would like to partake. Trails that are selected, they're not new to the area. They are pre-existing trails and parks created by various park organizations such as the Will County Forest Preserve, local park districts, as well as state and federal park services. Trails that have been combined together to form the trail system that I call the Prairieland Trails. A little bit about the trails. Some of the trails are quite long, even longer than the best of scouts could hike within one day. The trails have been broken up into multiple hiking opportunities that can be done over a number of days. Many of the hikes are right at that 10-mile mark that are required for the hiking merit badge. For Cub Scouts who are active in for our leaders who are active in Scouts Bsa as well as the Cub Scouts, there are a number of trails that are 5 miles and under, including a special nature award for attending 5 of the trails in the Prairieland Trails system. So this is a list of the current trails that are part of the system. Angelique will make available these slides, by the way, for you after the meeting if you so choose. If you're probably familiar with at least some of the parks and nature areas, but every one of these is basically within the Rainbow Council area. So this is the Cub Scout one. I'm not going to go over it very much. So I'm just going to move on to the Boy Scout one, which is the I&M Canal Trail. So this one actually does go outside the Rainbow Council area. It is the entire I&M Canal Trail from the start all the way at Lake Michigan, all the way out to LaSalle, where it basically more or less ends. So the trail is over 60 miles long. It runs through various scenic and historic sites, including Ottawa Scouting Museum, Riverboat Basin, a number of different aqueducts, and much more. There are camping opportunities along the way, so it is possible for scouts to make this to a hiking and camping trek. I've checked these, and I know all the way up into Seneca, or actually all the way out to Seneca, which is the fourth one on here. You would be good to basically do like a backpacking adventure. And so this would be the only day where you may need to kind of figure out a place to camp for the night. But the rest of them, as they're listed out, you could basically start them and finish at a place to camp. And of course, the last one, you would end, the idea would be that you, of course, would go home. Let me know if you guys have any questions about that. This is just one of a number of trails that are on there. Again, some of them intended towards Cub Scouts, some intended towards Boy Scouts.
Thank you, Bob. If anybody has any questions about this program, I'm sure Bob would be happy to answer them if you contacted him. This is a great program right now to do on your own. You can encourage Scouts to do it with their families right now, since we can't do things as a group. Go ahead.
Yep. Well, just one more thing. How can you find out more about it? We have a website. If you search us on Google, you'll find us, as well as Facebook. And you can contact me at Prairieland Trails at Gmail, just kind of showing you this is our Facebook page here. This is our the website, which has a link to the brochure. And let me move this around a bit. This is the brochure, which covers every one of the different trails that are available. It'll tell you where you can start the trail, where you stop it, and requirements for earning a patch, which basically just consists of ideally having a lunch or attending a nature center.
Fantastic.
Thank you again
so much.
All right.
Okay. And now we are going to have Lynn Zumstein. Lynn is our council chair of advancements, and she is going to talk to us about the changes that have happened recently in the Eagle extensions and the Eagle workbook, and anything else that she feels needs to tell us. All right, so let's put her, you can share now if you need to.
Thank you.
Go for it.
All right. So basically, there's been a few different changes for Stop muting me.
I was trying to let someone in and then it jumped. Sorry, go for it.
So basically, there's been quite a few changes with from National that have come down regarding the Eagle rank. And some of them are kind of exciting. They've came out with a new workbook. It is more user-friendly, at least that's what they claim. I haven't had anybody have a problem with downloading it at this point, because for those of you who have played with the old one, you couldn't open it up in a web browser. You had to download it to your machine. Then you had to open up Adobe in order to be able to actually get into the workbook. And now you can actually go and follow the link, and it'll pull it up right for you, and you'll be able to open it and start typing into it right away. So that's kind of exciting, and hopefully it works out for a lot more people, and we can hopefully eliminate some of the bad handwriting that goes on in a lot of those workbooks that we can't read. The new workbook is available, and it is now the new option as of January 1st. However, if a Scout has already started working on their Eagle project or filling out their workbook, they can continue in the old version of it. They do not have to switch over to the new one if they've already started. There's also a new Eagle required merit badge that's coming soon. Some people have heard some rumors about it. We saw some preliminary information on it, but then they retracted it. So we're hoping that it's supposed to be out by the end of this month, and it's called Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. It will be Eagle required for anyone who is going to be finishing after May 1st. So if you have a Scout who is hopefully going to have his Eagle project and all his paperwork into the office by April, they do not have to have this merit badge. But if they are going to be completing after May 1st, they must have this new merit badge. So we're hoping that National comes out with the information relatively soon, because we also need to get merit badge counselors for this new merit badge as well, but you can't really have a merit badge counselor if we don't know what they need to go through. So fingers crossed that National finalizes that up really soon. They are not going to extend the amount of merit badges that you need for Eagle. It is going to remain at 21, but now they will have one less elective and one more Eagle required to complete. Eagle extensions. Hopefully none of your scouts have this problem where they need to get an Eagle extension. If this happens though, there is now a new policy for it. So effective as of January 1st, there is no more COVID-19 extensions for Eagle Scouts. That has been discontinued. What they have now come out with is a brand new form for Eagles if they need to get that extension. It is located at thescouting.org/advancement. And basically it's changing a few things. One of the major parts that's changing is that Eagle extensions don't go to national anymore. They will now be council approved or denied. That is for any extension that is 6 months or less. If a scout feels that they cannot get their stuff done within an additional 6 months, that extension would have to automatically go to national. They would actually fill out the new form, send it to council, we deny it, then they have to send the appeal paperwork into national in order to possibly get that extension. For the extensions, their request must meet 3 specific tests. Test 1 is that they have to be a member that has joined or possibly rejoined or been inactive for a length of time, and now they don't have enough time to get their stuff completed before they reach the age of 18. That's not so hard because more than likely everybody's going to fall into that category. Test number 2, through no fault or choice of the scout, an unforeseen circumstance or life-changing event has come to exist that now is prohibiting them from completing their requirements by their 18th birthday. So some examples could be, you know, there's a family crisis that happened that they had to step away from scouts for a while. Natural disasters, COVID-19 could be kind of lumped into this group, and that kind of thing. Test number 3 is that the circumstances beyond the control of the scout, they couldn't have anticipated it or they couldn't have planned for it, and so they don't have enough time to complete their project or their requirements. So basically, as you can see, it's kind of enveloping COVID problems into this. And so national has been kind of downsizing lately. And so we feel that they have now kind of switched this over to councils being able to handle it because they probably don't have enough personnel going on right now at national to handle all the extensions that I'm sure have been coming down the pipeline. A very important point to note on the new form, you must include certain documentation in order to get an Eagle extension. This is very important. They have to provide a letter that shows how each of those 3 tests that I talked about, how it has been fulfilled. They must include names and dates of people that possibly could be involved or know the knowledge of what caused the delay that they can't get their stuff done. If they don't include the documentation, we have to deny it. So please make sure if you have somebody who is in this category that they need an extension, that they must pay attention to this little part here, and it's near the bottom of the form that says they have to provide this documentation. If they have a health-related one, they must also have a statement from a health professional. Now, this does not include special needs scouts that might have need extra time in order to complete things. That is a totally different situation, and it does not go on this normal extension form. So once the form gets filled out, all the documentation is complete. That needs to get emailed to either the office, like to Dee, or specifically to my email address. Once it's received, the advancement team is going to go over the information that's submitted, and then we recommend a course of action to the Scout executive. The Scout executive will take a look at it, and they are going to have the power to either grant the extension or to deny it. If it is denied, the Scout has a separate form that they can fill out to appeal to National. And then, of course, that paperwork with the original paperwork of the extension request will go on to National. Whatever National's decision is final in all matters. So whatever they decide is what is going to happen. So basically, that is all the major changes that I have for Eagles and Eagle extensions at this point. Things keep kind of changing as we go along, and hopefully we will see that new merit badge and its information soon. The only other thing that a lot of people have been, I guess, asking about across the country is about merit badge pamphlet books. There's been some rumors saying that they're not going to print them anymore and that they're going to go all electronic, but we have not heard any definite answers on that. So as of now, we have still been able to order merit badge pamphlet books and stuff, but in the future, we don't know. And especially with this new one coming out, last we had heard was we don't know if they're even going to print a pamphlet booklet at this point. It may just be ending up being online for now until we get a more definite answer. We don't even have a new definite answer when we're going to get a new guide to advancement. So we'll just keep hanging out and hoping that National gives us some more information, and we'll pass it along as we get it. That's all I've got, Angelique, unless people have questions.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Do we have any questions while we got her here? Go ahead and either unmute yourself or you can pop it in chat.
So, Lynn, this is Tracy from Troop 50. I have a scout whose birthday is in April. And again, we're still under restrictions and guidelines for, again, Eagle projects. His project was approved back, I believe, in October. He's supposed to be working with an animal shelter to make a rack to transport cages. And yeah, we're kind of where we're at. So if he files an extension, would he be approved for that extension?
It depends on, again, how much time he's going to be asking for. And is his project the only thing he has left open to complete? Does he have open merit badges? All those kinds of things kind of come into consideration. But it does say on the form itself that they have to put down there how long they think they would need in order to complete everything. So, I mean, it's going to depend upon that facility, if they let you in to do things or not, and that kind of information.
Okay, so, I mean, we're suspended from doing meetings or anything. So if we're at like a 10-person gathering for the project, that would make it okay?
If he can, make it work with, if he has, smaller groups, like, yeah, with, under 10, then he should be able to, manage if the facility is okay with that. I believe that we're going to have those, that restriction coming soon, that we can start to meet with, with a group of 10 or smaller, but it hasn't officially come out at this point. But, I'm sure, even if he waits a month and, if things aren't totally open by then, I'm sure at some point in a month, we're going to open up and, he'll be able to work on that. So I would say he could probably hold off on requesting the extension at this point, but, maybe readdress it near the end of February and see if things haven't changed, and then he can move forward with that.
Okay, yeah, it's just getting tight. That's all it is. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for Lynn?
I had a question about advancement in general and maybe Eagle Scout stuff, but not about the extension. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I've only been a Scoutmaster for just a year now, so I've only done a couple of these conferences.
Okay.
But are these basically like they're always gonna pass kind of thing? We just talk to them and that's about it? Because everyone tells me we don't question them about anything they've already been trained on because they've already been signed off on it. So I'm just curious about that. What do we do in these conferences, really?
Well, a lot of times in conferences, you're basically checking to see how they're doing overall. Do they have any problems going on in their patrol? Do they have any suggestions for making the troop better? And things like that. You know, you can ask them, rough, things like, how are you dealing with, Scout oath and law in your daily life, those kinds of things. But if something is signed off in their book that it's complete, yeah, you can't unsign it for them, kind of thing. So basically, and a lot of Scoutmaster conferences that I hold, it's feeling out how the boy is doing, is everything okay? And, you could even, ask him about school. You can ask him, about, his friends and, those kinds of things to see how overall, the young person is doing. And then, figure out where they might need some help and maybe, to keep advancing if they were being sluggish in it, or, what motivates them. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Just follow up on that. So, for example, over summer we were doing knots, and one of the other scouts who had already had it signed off was trying to show the knots, and he wasn't doing a very good job. Like, he was doing the knots wrong, and I haven't touched knots in over 25 years, and I was able to grab a rope and do it off to the side myself. And I felt like, something should have been said later on, but I didn't know because he already had it signed off. How do you approach that?
Well, basically, I would say that's a good time to do a reteaching moment and go over, those skills, because let's face it, especially with something like knots, not everybody's enjoying, going over knots all the time. And, everybody kind of knows what they're good at and what they're not good at. And everybody could always use a refresher course, even, the adult Scoutmaster staff. So, I would just use it as a teaching tool and be like, hey, guys, maybe we should do, a refresher course on some knots, and, maybe we'll make a camp gadget and stuff for a meeting in order to, not necessarily, scold them for not knowing the knowledge anymore, but, just to keep it fresh and keep it fun.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Hey, thank you very much, Lynn. And we are going to move forward because I don't want to run out of time. But thank you very much, Lynn, for speaking to us about the Eagle changes. And now we're going to turn it over to Esmeralda, and she is going to lead a discussion with us about, we're all getting some crossovers hopefully here, and what do we do with crossovers right now?
Yeah, as we were sitting, just to help out Sean, I put in the chat a file of some sample questions to ask during a Scoutmaster conference that might kind of give you some guiding questions as you're sitting there for you. So I threw that in the chat for you. But as we were sitting down and talking about what can we do about what to do with new crossovers during this COVID time, and we're like, well, we can do these activities and that activities, we can do this, we can do that. And then after a while of going around in circles and trying to rack our brains, we just decided to treat this like a true roundtable and have an open discussion. What can we do? So now this becomes a brainstorming session for us of what can we do with these boys or girls that just crossed over a week before we closed down last March and they're still at no rank. What do you do? How do you keep tabs on them? And so let's start spitballing. Let's come up with a list. Let's help our other troops figure out what are we going to do with these children, because really they're children when they're coming over, or even just those new scouts that just joined, really excited. I want to go camping, and then boom, we're now on virtual. What can we do? So let's start spitballing. So one of the things, I'll start. We had a scout who crossed over, came to our green and red. The following week, we closed down. What do? He barely comes to any of the virtual things, but as soon as we opened up just a little bit, he was there. He was like, okay, what do? He's the first in line to go on a hike, first person to go, what do I need for my camping trip? Poor child has not even gone on a camping trip yet. Because every time we were ready to go, something happened, we can't do it. So I've been really keeping track of, as a membership coordinator at the time, keeping track with mom, kind of checking in. Hey, how's it going? Are you still with us? What does he need? Does he need help with anything? Hey, we're working on this virtually that he can use. He could really have some help with and get some advancements that way. Please make sure he's on. I'm really keeping those lines of communication with the parents to make sure that the parents are still engaged in that kind of going, okay, yeah, don't worry about it because he hasn't been coming on those Zoom meetings, but really making sure that he's okay. I think we need, and that's not just for the kids that just crossed over, but all our children, our scouts that need to be checked in and we haven't seen because let's face it, we've been on Zoom, kids have been on Zoom, they're all computered out, just checking in on them. So what ideas do you guys think that you have or that might work? I mean, it could be something that just kind of popped in your head right now and go, hey, how about if we do this? Let's come up with a list of ideas to pass along to the other troops and put it out there. Don't all speak at once.
I could go right away.
Sure.
Because just so people get comfortable. We also had in our boys troop the same experience where five came into the troop a week before everything shut down. So one of those is my youngest son. So we were kind of motivated to keep him engaged in it. But what we really have focused on is keeping the kids, since they came from a pack together and knew each other and are friends already, with those kids that are coming in a group, we just found as many ways to keep them involved with each other. So sometimes that looked like setting up Minecraft servers for their little group where they can keep connected with each other. And sometimes that looks like setting up meetings just for them so they can talk to each other about imposter and playing online and not drive the older kids crazy in the troop. But they're still involved, they're still engaged with each other. And then when we did open up, then we hit hard with all the dangerous stuff. So we did fire and axes and anything with flames and knives and building big camp gadgets. The more bang for the buck. As soon as we were allowed to do outside stuff, we had them in it, doing it right away, so that they were like, "Oh man, this is going to be awesome." So, because we weren't allowed to do a lot, but what we could do, we really made it count. But this is where we want to hear from you guys too. Have you had kids cross over, and how did you keep them engaged? And do you have ideas for keeping them engaged?
One thing our troop did to keep everybody engaged, because we only had one crossover, we did what we called a Scouts in Isolation Challenge, and then everybody voted on which one they liked. We would have like find a camping gadget that you can use for more than one way. And we had, scarves, and we had buckets, and then like different cooking meals you could do. So each week it was a different topic. And if you won, you got to pick the next week topic. And they were always trying to go above and beyond to come up with a new idea. The other thing is our boys troop was they had the older boys kind of create some videos, and then they would break off into their patrols, and they would talk about it, and then they would try to make their own videos based on what the older boys had told them.
So videos on like what? Just creativity, or on a scouting thing, or
like anything that they wanted to do, like just to keep them engaged. Sometimes it was a scouting thing, sometimes it was just for fun. And then they would just talk about, well, I liked what this one did, I didn't like what this one did, or, you know, something along that lines.
That's fun. Anybody else?
What kind of isolation games did they pick? Like for example, you said there was a cooking challenge. So can you give us more in depth of what exactly that would look like?
Our cooking one was just make a meal for your family, and we did that, you know, being nice to your family. But some of the other ones was, I'm trying to think, around Christmas time, it was to make an ornament out of a camp gadget. And my daughter just happened to do a Frisbee, and she painted like an emoji thing on it. I'm trying to think, we did knots the one time. What is, weird ways you can use your knots or whatever. And they came up with all kinds of different things. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. So some was Scout related, some was not Scout related. They did a Rube Goldberg challenge the one time. So it's like anything that they really wanted to do, they came up with just different ideas. Oh, and the one was they got out in the spring and did motivational messages in the driveways. They did the chalks and they made motivational ones in the driveways.
That's good. That sounds like a really good idea, just to keep everyone engaged and maybe to get when those AOLs come visit. That's one of those great ideas to have, and to say, hey, this is what we're doing when you come visit the troop. Be ready to participate in things like that. That's really, really good.
One that came up in the Cubs, because they're dealing with similar issues, one of the leaders there was planning hikes for his troop for his Cubs that they could go do with their families, which would also translate well to the troop side. He was pre-hiking them and then snapping pictures along the hike. And then the challenge was to get the scouts to find what he took pictures of along the hike, and then share the pictures after the hike as proof that they went on the hike with their family and found the mystery items, which I thought would translate really well even for the older kids and be engaging. And then, you know, we just learned about the Prairieland Trail system hikes, and you can couple those together and they can earn some fun patches while doing it.
Any other ideas?
We just kept everything on Zoom. Everything that you can do on Zoom, what we call book. We did it on Zoom. This is the first year Scouts only that my son was the instructor for. So anything that we can do on book, which is basically your Scout rank, and any easy, in parentheses, in quotes, merit badges that they wanted to work on. We did everything, again, on Zoom. Once we were able to meet, like Angelique did, we just hit it hard. Let's get the stuff done before we get closed down again. And they got in, you know, out of the 9 we had, I think 7 or 8 ranked up to Tenderfoot already. So, you know, part of my son's goal was at least get them ranked up once and get them 2 merit badges, and got most of them done. It's just, you know, the stuff that we need to get done, they have to do on their own. It's outside work, so they can do it with their family and just get signed off, you know, down the road.
Yeah, we did do for the 5. As soon as we were allowed to meet in person again, we did a full day. They were there 8 in the morning until 5 in the evening. And
Saturday and Sunday.
And we did it in a park, and we had all the older scouts come, and just a day long of teaching to knock everything out. They had fun doing it. We made it fun, but it was a way to catch them up from all the things that they were missing, because we still weren't allowed to camp. But there's a lot you can knock out in a day. Any other ideas? Anything that's gone really, really well for you guys over virtually?
Or if there was, you tried something that you thought would go really well and then something didn't quite work out, and maybe we can brainstorm to maybe improve it or give you some tips on how to execute it better. Or this is one of those teachable moments to help you through your day.
All right, Tracy from Troop 50 again. So again, we're meeting on Zoom, and the patrols are doing separate Zoom meetings on the days that we aren't doing a troop meeting. And then when we come together, each patrol usually has a month that they're in charge of a program topic. And again, we are following BSA program topics, personal fitness for the month of January. So the scouts, during their patrol meeting, delegated parts out, so everybody had an assignment. They screen shared what they came up with. You know, they brought in a special guest to talk about it, one of the merit badge counselors, to present personal fitness merit badge. From there, we have a flip grid set up so the scouts can demonstrate their rank advancements on flip grid so that they can then get their advancements signed off later. And then our SPL and our ASPL are usually doing a trivia like Jeopardy game, and the patrols get to pick which category, and then they score based off of who answers in the chat window first with the correct answers.
Awesome. That sounds like you got them busy. That's good. We've had good luck too with inviting a merit badge counselor in that they want to work on. We're encouraging a lot of the hands-on merit badges and like art and sculpture and some of the other ones that translate well. And then I spend a couple hours driving around town dropping kits off, so that if you tell them, okay, by next Friday you need to get 3 pounds of clay, it's not going to happen. So I spend the day driving around and dropping it off, but then they're all there, they all show up, they're having fun because they can talk and goof around while they're working on something with their hands. They're still talking to each other. So some of the older kids might already have their merit badges, but then they can help teach it. And then for the younger kids, it's something to do that's more interesting than their millionth Zoom meeting where they sit and listen to someone talk. So anything hands-on is I have found to be very popular.
Ours were working on the music merit badge at one point and stuff. And so SPL created like a name that tune kind of game and stuff. And they liked it so much that he did it another week as well. He had done like a Christmas version, and then there was a regular version as well. And right now they're actually working on the chess merit badge. And so they've been using the website lichess.org. It's a free site that they can go and play chess games with. And basically they create an account. And then if you share your username with your fellow patrol mates, then you can play chess games. And so they've been doing that back and forth as well.
Okay, what was the name of that website again?
It's lichess.org.
That's good, because that's what my troop is planning on doing next month. So that's good to know it went over well.
Yes. And it's really simple, and you can, demonstrate on there all the different, like castling and all that kind of stuff that they need to know. And it's real. We're kind of lucky because we have one of our scouts is actually on the chess team in high school and stuff, and so it's like I'll just let him kind of teach most of it. And the funny thing is he doesn't have the merit badge, so it's like, well, that would be an easy one for you to get.
So not that I don't want to have this conversation, but this is what Roundtable's for. This is for you, for us to brainstorm, to get some, like, generate a pile of a list of ideas. So when one day your SPL or your patrol leader's like, I don't know what to do, you can just go, here's this pick, or hey, I found this idea, what do you think? So it's just to kind of help with these ideas and help guide these SPLs to some of these, trying to get them to think outside of the box, to get them to stop doing the same thing over and over again, because that in itself loses a lot of our members as well. Because like, why? We always do the same thing. Why? We always do the same thing. So it's trying to get them out of that rut. And it's easy to do right now during this time of isolation. So, but with that being said, our time is running out. So any last ideas, comments, concerns, questions?
And just know that you can always message us or I, or we can also pop our joint email account into the text here for everybody. But if you've got a question or a concern, or you need help with something, or you'd like us to see us cover something in the near future, please, please, please reach out. We're flexible in our programming, and we can definitely change what's on the schedule to help what you guys need, because that's what we're here for, and that's our job. So thank you all very, very much for coming. If anyone has any concerns that they need to talk about right away, the commissioners will hang on afterwards to help you out. Otherwise, we hope to see you next month, and we hope you learned something.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone.